What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the AFC East Summit Show tonight. We do this every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Joined by some new faces tonight. A new face tonight, I should say, in place of our boy Keith. We're joined by Steven, who is on Keith's channel, the Philly Fins Forecast, and really excited to hear his take on the Dolphins, obviously coming off a major victory for our Buffalo Bills. So we're going to talk Tua. We're going to talk a little bit of Jets football. The Pats almost coming off with a huge win against Seattle Seahawks. But hey, a lot to come here, folks. Really excited to get into it. And hey, more to follow right after this. Here we are tonight, Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, coming at you live. AFC East Summit Show here, folks. We're really excited to dive into the Week 2 recap and some primetime matchups for Week 3. So at the start of the show, I introduced a new member, if you will, Steven. Excited to have you on tonight, man. I know you're filling in for Keith. You got some big shoes to fill, but already loving the backdrop you got going on there. Very nicely decorated, I got to say.
My wife.
Welcome. Hey.
Thank you.
Shout out to her. Shout out to her. Give her flowers, literally, in the background there.
Yes.
But how we doing tonight, man? How you feeling? I know, so some big news, obviously, out of Dolphins camp. The Dolphins officially have put Tua Tagovailoa on the IR, meaning he will miss the next 4 games. So I'm going to start with you first off. I want to get your overall feelings right now as a Fins fan. I know you guys signed Tyler Snoop Huntley. Not sure, is Skylar Thompson going to be the guy? Give me the whole lowdown.
Well, I am not a Skylar Thompson fan. I'm happy for the success he almost had last year in the playoffs, but I don't think he's the answer. In fact, I think it's going to be a hard year because I don't believe that we're going to stop believing in Tua. I know Tua just got put on the IR till week 8, and I think it would be unfair to Tua if we chanted for him to retire. It's his job, and I saw this narrative today, and I kind of thought about it over the weekend when I was watching the UFC fights. I don't know if you guys are fans of MMA or boxing. Those guys get knocked. Yeah, those guys get knocked out. I would say sometimes once or twice a year on a constant yearly basis, and nobody's begging for them to retire. Tua's had some concussions. It's not healthy. I don't want to see him getting coloring books for Christmas after he's done football or anything. But in the same stroke of the brush, we got to figure out what our quarterback situation is going to be. And I believe that there could be a trade possibility in the Dolphins' future. And I don't know if it's going to come from Miami to a team, but I do think a team will come to Miami, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. They've offered. Jerry Jones has not offered anything to any teams, but he's offered the fact that he wants to do a midseason trade, possibly for a running back. Trey Lance is their number 3, and we have 5 running backs. You can even go all the way deep as Brooks on our practice squad, who's a power runner and somebody who Jerry Jones is probably looking for.
You guys cut Brooks.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You guys cut Brooks.
He's on our practice squad.
No, he's not.
No,
really.
He got brought up to, I think it was maybe not the Rams, but no, he didn't pass waivers.
Either way,
in fact, you offered him
we have Deneric Prince
and Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson's not going to be a Dolphin forever. Jeff Wilson's somebody who has proven experience, and you could also package a draft pick with Trey Lance in case Trey Lance doesn't play. None of this, but he would be a backup solver for future concussions, injuries, whatever you want to call it, to come. I think Trey Lance would be a possible option for the number 2 spot, considering I personally don't want to see Tua retire. I wouldn't mind not seeing him play for the rest of the season, though.
I hear that. Yeah, it's a tough. I can't even imagine what's going through his mind. I know there were some talks of like his wife and kids went into the locker room with him, and it's a hard visual when you see a guy get knocked to the ground, especially when this is football, right? So it's not boxing or UFC or anything like that.
No.
So people that don't necessarily watch those sports, it's hard to like comprehend that you know, this is obviously a totally different sport, but Tua's laying there with his hands, like fingers crossed.
Sure.
And I mean, that from what I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but all the reports and whatnot have said that that's like a telltale sign of like brain damage, right? So that's, yeah. So it's
There's
scary.
a good rule of,
It's
there's a good, I'm
indistinguishable
sorry.
from a seizure. He's
Yeah,
basically having a seizure, and we've watched him have at least 2 and possibly 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had a lot of back to back, but there is a good rule of thumb in those other sports when it comes to those concussions. Like Trevor Whitman's a wizard at this, and I mean, it's not hard to do, but he doesn't even let fighters enter the gym for a full year. You know, when you're dedicated to a camp, it's like you're dedicated to the team. You know, he has them off for a whole year, family time, this, that, and the third. Get prepared, do your cardio on your own, do what you have to do, but he doesn't want them in the gym for a full year after he got concussed, and I think that's a fantastic rule to even carry throughout the NFL. If you get your bell rung and you're sitting there stiffened up, I think you should mandatorily have to sit out for the season. I mean, I'm not saying you got to retire. I think that would be unfair, but it's a good rule of thumb in the MMA, and it's proven to help longevity in the sport of concussions there.
Well, not only that, you're giving your body a whole year to basically recover and like not take hits from 350-pound defensive linemen. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
it's,
And like you said,
yeah.
it's football, not boxing, not MMA, but you can still learn from the brain concussions from one sport to another. You know?
Definitely. Yeah.
MMA,
I like that approach.
The thing about boxing versus MMA, and they've talked about this before, it's the G forces involved.
Oh yeah.
Boxers take cumulative hits, and obviously, you know, over time it does add up. But you can't compare like a dude hitting you with a fist really, really hard versus like a 300-pound dude laying his helmet into you, running 15 or 16 miles an hour. They've studied it. I'm not making this up. They've actually studied the impact forces, and the impact forces are so much higher. The only sport that we can compare it to is hockey. And the only player that I can think of off the top of my head that was a superstar, there were 2 of them that I can remember, were Eric Lindros, who was in the late 90s, had to retire basically because of concussions. Jeremy Roenick is another one, had to retire, had a longer career, but he had to retire because of concussions. And recently, Sidney Crosby. And Sidney Crosby had to take almost 2 or 3 years off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with 2. I don't think 2 or 3 years, but I totally see a full year and seeing what happens, seeing who calls Miami, run with Trevor Huntley, run with, I hate to say it, but run with Skyler and just try to manage a few wins, you know, think about next season and play tough, get that defense ready and primed, because I think that's kind of where we're going to need to put all our chips at now.
What about a possible Ryan Tannehill reunion? Have you thought about that? Have the Dolphins thought about that? I wonder.
I think out of the chat, I'm the biggest Tannehill fan, but only because he's the one I've seen most success with. I caught the end of Dan Marino's career. I didn't see a whole lot of the success that everybody bragged and held their pride on. I didn't catch that. I thought I was going to get that with Dante Culpepper. Didn't get it there. You know, there's a whole slew of quarterbacks that I didn't see wins from. I seen wins from Tannehill.
Yeah.
I was also one to run Tannehill out of Miami because I didn't think he's a starting quarterback. And lo and behold, I would have him back as our number 2. And our system isn't based off of him. Our system's based off of anticipation. And whereas Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen has the legs to be able to roll out, wait for your receivers to make these cuts, and then deliver the ball. Miami don't have the line to do it, and B, the quarterback to do that. They have to get rid of the ball fast. And anticipation is these throws aren't going to come from Skyler, and these throws aren't going to come from Huntley. There's just not the chemistry there. Tua's had 3 years to do this with these guys, and that's where those picks came from. Anticipation throws to players who haven't seen the field with Tua.
Right. Yeah, and it hurts too because our guy Keith, you know, he's talking about how the Dolphins should go O-line, 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 O-line in the draft. And I mean, what did you guys do? You got Patrick Paul, right, in the second round, but outside, and he's very raw.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of that, though, I mean, you didn't really do a whole lot to bolster that O-line. You get Aaron Brewer there at center, who's kind of an undersized center, who's a solid player, don't get me wrong, but I think really what you're looking at is like the depth, because you see so many. Taron Armstead gets hurt every year, right?
Yeah,
and now you have Kendall Lamb, and it's just like it's a tough mix, man.
And that's Keith's bread and butter. He's big on knowing the status of this line. And I think he was concerned with depth, and we're seeing it. We have injuries, and now we're already relying on a number 3 guard, Lester Cotton, to fill in because obviously Jones can't hold the job. So Keith saw that from a mile away, and it's something I wasn't too concerned of. But literally, we lost one guy, and we're already down to calling people off their couch from home to come in and play, because if we lose another one, what are we going to do? Pull Lester Cotton and Jones on one side? We're going to lose 2 more quarterbacks. We'll be like Penn State, Michigan in 2016 when they lost Henne and everybody else. It'll be a disaster.
I don't know if the O-line situation would have helped with Tua's specific injury, though.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
Tua
was running. Right.
That's a play call.
Tua ran and slid wrong.
Right? Yeah. For sure. He's not a runner.
Yeah, but we've seen quarterbacks take that hit a million times and just get back up. Like
that's true.
The way his neck buckled was scary, dude.
Yeah, he don't have the bone structure for that. He's a little guy. He really is. He's a little guy with beef on him.
He's a little guy, and he's already taken more head and neck hits than a little guy should have already. Is my 100%. This camera's being terrible, I think.
Oh, you're good, man. No, I mean, it's blurred out in the background because I know, listen, you're at an undisclosed location interning in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Probably
Edward Snowden
stuff.
I just have like this room, and that's like it. So I kind of.
Is that a spiral staircase behind you? It kind of looks like it's giving me a spiral staircase illusion behind you.
I have my own room, but this is a bunk bed.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So there's like stuff on top of it because,
Oh, I see. Now I can see. Okay. Got it. All right. Cool. All right. Let's go to the chat real quick. Let's pause for a second. I want to go to the chat. Just acknowledge the folks out there. Sean coming in hot early. And listen, I knew it was coming. He did mention he's going to say some things to Anthony. I said, listen, I'm going to moderate. He said, this is for Anthony.
I literally, I'm not on the internet enough to know what the heck he's talking about.
Serve cold. Have a great show, y'all. All right. I think he's alluding to eating crow, something like that.
What?
Sean, I love it. Thank you for joining. If I were Tua and Roy, appreciate you being out there. If I were Tua and I got cleared by an independent neurologist, I would continue playing unless my wife threatened to leave me if I did. Fair enough.
Roy, your name is clearly not Tom Brady. You don't have his backbone, okay?
Right. Brady, by the way, when they divorced, he got settlements out of that.
Yeah, that's like a good point, I think. Secondarily, is that he got money out of that.
That is crazy. Yeah.
But
Weston, good to see you out there. Hey, Roy. Hey, I like the new profile picture you got there. Hopefully it's not a 3P for you guys. That's all I got to say. He is here, and he loves Anthony's screen name. By the way, it says, OMG, we won. Anthony, are you hitting the panic button right now for the New York Football Jets? What's going on out there?
We won. What are you talking about?
I know.
I'll get into my OMG. I'll get into my game. We'll get into my game later.
The Jets got to get one every once in a while, or else they wouldn't have hope to be crushed.
Tyler might be the biggest trash talker.
Let's talk about that later.
I know.
I can't wait.
I have 6 suit jackets in my closet. I have 8 dress shirts. I am ready for Victory Tuesday. I'm prepared.
How many of them were hand-me-downs from your grandpa?
None of them.
Oh, that's
impressive. You didn't pay full price for those, did you?
No, I got them like on sale, man. Look at this one. Look at this pattern.
Wow. Dude, look at the pattern.
That is a good suit jacket. I love this one.
You know what you have to do is you have to get yourself like a Hawaiian Patriot.
Five Below had that section. Is that from the Hugh Hefner collection?
I actually got this one from Men's Warehouse.
Nice.
On like an 80% sale because, why not? Right there.
That's very cool.
The best one I have.
Let's see here. Who else we got? Brett out there. OMG, the Jets won. Russell Wilson. I'm assuming he's saying that to Steven, asking if Russell Wilson
thought about it. No. What do you give for Russell Wilson? That's the question. Obviously the contract's been taken care of during the last trade, but
you give the Steelers a firm handshake.
Pretty much, dude. It's like whatever baseball team that was back in the 90s that traded somebody for pine bats. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I give you a couple receiver gloves and a couple face masks. Like, I don't know what you want for him, but
listen,
I don't
I'm
think
not normally helping rivals, but I do have a package of Oreos here with the Steelers name on it.
Are those mega stuff?
Tyler with the product.
No, regular. You can't mega stuff your Oreos. You can't mega stuff your Oreos. The best Oreos are double stuffed, but they're best when you take the Oreos, the regular Oreos, and you do it yourself. Because real Americans do it yourself, obviously. And it's kind of tradition.
Now, when you dip it in the milk, there is a science experiment, by the way. It said like 4 seconds is the perfect amount of time to leave it in your milk, and then you pull it out, and it's like the perfect softness, consistency.
Is that with 2% milk or full fat milk? I'd imagine full fat milk goes in a little bit slower, but I don't know.
Good question, Anth. I don't drink anything but whole, so I'm a Jim Harbaugh type whole milk type drinker. So
I'm all into walnut milk. I don't know if you've tried it. It's really good.
I have actually tried it. It's not bad. I've been knocking it my whole life, but then I did try it one time. I'm like, it's okay, actually. It's not that bad, but still, whole milk till I die. It's the only way for me. Haven't broken a bone yet, so it's kind of huge, you know? Fitz Magic incoming, Brett says.
He's one of my all-time favorites, though.
I mean, I love him, but I don't know about that.
You know, you guys need to get Tom Brady off the couch. And you maybe could.
I've heard it.
There's somebody I would love, but they're not going to get rid of him. You would have to get rid of too much to get him, but I would love to see Jameis Winston back in Florida and in Miami. I would love that. I'm a big Jameis fan. I've always been. I like the way he puts the ball, air under the ball, just lets his receiver do some magic. And we got the team for a player like Jameis. And then if Tua doesn't come back, you worry about that position at that point. You can have Jameis hold down until who us Dolphins fan believe in. I don't know how you guys feel about Tua, but I know he's about a 50-50 with a lot of Dolphins fans too. But me personally, I want him back because I like those anticipation throws. You know, I saw a stat. He's got the fastest release in NFL history at 2.33 seconds. I can pull it up. It's not that big of a deal, but it's right in front of Aaron Rodgers and Dan Marino at like 2.35. Which was measured only off of NFL Network. But yeah, Tua's got the fastest release only because of the scheme, you know, so he has to, and you're not going to find that in a Jameis Winston. So the whole scheme's got to change.
The upside of getting Jameis is that he would throw a lot of picks.
For sure.
Because, you know, his vision wasn't the best also. No, but luckily, Tyreek can get enough separation that it doesn't matter. You know, you don't have to tell the two apart. One guy. I'm not trying
to slam Josh and the Bills, but between them and the Eagles, they're the most turnover team out there, and they have the two quarterbacks who like to put air up under the ball and let it go. You know,
not this year though. Not this year. Only one turnover this year, baby.
Yeah, and he's gonna run. The only person who's really good at putting the ball up without getting it picked is Aaron Rodgers. He is one of the best at. Patrick Mahomes gets all his picks flagged and brought back. So
he has the most interceptions taken back since 2018, I think.
It's like almost in the 50s or something like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah.
I don't think it's that high. I think that specific stat was made up.
Was it? But it's still high. Yeah. It's still high. But either way, Aaron Rodgers is easily the greatest one at doing that.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the best touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history. It's absolutely ridiculous when you look at it. And even, I mean, with the Jets right now, I don't think he's. Did he throw an interception week one, Ant? I think he did. Or no, he didn't. Okay.
No.
So yeah, he's got no interceptions this year too. Not saying he's playing great football or anything like that, but stats don't lie, baby, right?
Tom Brady didn't play great at the end of his career, but he won games.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady was still like top 5.
He still put up some numbers though.
Tom Brady threw up like 56 touchdowns.
It was
Yeah, I don't know where we're getting this. Tom Brady was bad at the end of his career.
He's still pretty good.
Tom Brady was the second to last of his seasons. He was the best quarterback in the league.
But the gameplay changed.
5,400 yards. I'm sure the gameplay was fine.
He was still throwing deep. Because you remember when he played in the division round against the Rams, they almost won because he threw a 40-yard bomb to, I think it was Evans, either Evans or Godwin, all the way down the field. And the only reason they didn't win that game is because Stafford returned the favor with Cooper Kupp. on a busted coverage.
That was a hell of a year for those two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to get to Roy's question. Are the Dolphins better off just finishing a bad season and getting a top 4 or 5 pick and then getting another quarterback? I think your answer to that is probably no.
Do you guys have your first round pick this year? Okay.
They're not the Panthers.
We have all our picks. I believe we have all our picks.
You don't. You traded a pick last year for a pick this year for a pick last year to trade up to get the running back.
Oh, for Jalen Wright.
Yeah.
That is right. Yeah, that is right. That is right. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm with you, Steven. I mean, Tua is the best quarterback that's been on the Miami Dolphins since Dan Marino, right? So obviously you want him to play. If he can play and like he is good with playing, I'm good with it too. Like I know it's insanely scary and everyone's telling you, and he's got so much pressure from the outside probably coming in, but like if he is cleared by several neurologists and he feels like he can do it, let him play.
I broke my hand at work, and if they told me I can't work anymore because I use my hands at work, that's unfair. You know what I mean?
If every time you broke your hand, it made your hand more likely to break, and you've broken your hand 3 or 4 times already,
and you're already a multimillionaire, so you don't have to work.
Well, there's a competitive.
Every concussion makes another concussion more likely,
and worse outcomes,
and worse.
It can.
As a CTE guy, I can confirm. I retired early from playing football because I had like 5 concussions. So
did you? I can hardly tell these days.
You know what, Ant? I'm just going to take that and run with it. And
well, I mean, he is a Bills fan, so I mean, you know,
hey, division leading Buffalo Bills. Just saying.
Yeah. How many Super Bowls have you won?
All right. I
those banners you hung up in just
Tyler, I'm done with him for now.
Yeah, we should.
Hey, we've actually won Super Bowls. Hey, no, us. Us 3 have won Super Bowls. You
I've never seen my team win though. I'm not bragging on Super Bowl wins. I've never seen a playoff win, brother. We have one, but I don't think I watched it. I probably wasn't interested. It was against, I believe, the Ravens, and it was like 2010. I probably didn't really care all that much.
I was going to ask you, Steven, what got you into being a Dolphins fan, if you don't mind? Give me the lore.
So when I was a kid, you remember those? It's kind of almost the same story as Keith's, but a little different. So my grandfather got my brothers and myself all those football helmet things that you put on with the jersey and the pants. Every kid had one. My one brother got 49ers. My other brother got Redskins, and I got the Dolphins. And it's just kind of, I wore it around all the time. Eventually I got bed sheets by the time I was 6, 7.
Nice.
And then like middle school happened and high school happened, and I really got big into wrestling. And then I got big after that. I got big into jiu-jitsu and big into MMA. And then just in my 20s, I really started to watch football again a lot. Now I'm 35. I've been watching it consistently since, moved out of home and had my own place. But there was quite a period of time in my teen years where I wasn't really that big on ball sports to begin. I still don't really care about ball sports. Football is literally the only sport I watch that involves a puck, ball, anything. So it's what I enjoy. I get frustrated when I can't sit at home and watch my Dolphins games. Like week 1, there was a baptism. I was so happy to be there. Don't get me wrong, but I had no service after the church service, and it was just a brutal. It was all I wanted to do, and it put me in a mood. And I love it. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm not a fan because I didn't like them for a 10-year period in an age where I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do with my life. So. When I got back into football, I knew they sucked, but it was kind of like I've been a fan since I was a kid. Might as well keep it going and continue to fall in love with them and continue to get my heart broken constantly.
Yeah, I would say as a man that had to go through the Cam Cameron era and saw Cleo Lemon.
Lemon's brutal. I was just going to bring that name up.
A laundry list of quarterbacks, right?
Speedler.
You are a real one for that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm getting some of that right now myself.
What's that, Tyler?
I'm getting some of that right now myself.
Yeah, finally, right? It's been coming, I mean, this has all been building up for 20 some odd years, and now you're finally getting a little taste of it. But you know what's frustrating? You guys did almost beat those Seattle Seahawks And listen,
Yeah.
I don't think you look half bad. Like, there's some good things that you guys did out there.
Mm-hmm.
You got some
Jacoby
good young
Brissett.
talent, right?
Yeah.
Jacoby can win you some games.
Yeah, he's serious this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the offense. Just talk about it fully. I guess the offense looked decent. The defense looked decent. You know, it was not as good a defensive performance as we had against the Bengals, but I like the offense a little bit more, so it all kind of balances out. Coaching decisions were annoying.
Yeah.
You know, especially at the end of the game. Like there was in OT, I think it was 4th and 2, and we punted on our own, 30 or 40 yard line around there. You don't punt in that situation in OT because the Seattle Seahawks just need a field goal, and they've shown they can get a field goal. Like they
Right.
can. It's OT. You do or die. You literally do or die. Can't risk it. Other than that, yeah, I mean it looks decent. The problem, at least I saw a stat that the Patriots have been blitzed some of the least in the NFL. I think it might have been 6 times total in the first 2 games the Patriots were blitzed. If the number I saw was accurate, but that the pressure, I guess the pressure rate on our quarterback, Jacoby Brissett's being put under pressure 46.9% of the time.
Wow. Okay.
The offensive line is not good.
No, it is not. And that's why I'm kind of glad you guys, well, actually, I'm not glad, but you should be glad that you're sitting Drake May for right now, because that could potentially ruin a quarterback. And Anthony and I talk about this all the time. We really think that he is the best quarterback prospect in this class. So it's only a matter of time before he eventually becomes that guy. But for him to sit right now and kind of take it all in, especially watching close games unfold as they have the last 2 weeks, I think it's the best thing for him.
Yeah, I think he's the best quarterback on the roster for sure at the moment. Objectively and talent wise, but he's not you'd rather have Brissett in, both for the experience factor, because Brissett can work better around this whole lacking on offensive line thing, and because you don't want to build bad habits into Drake May. So if we had a good offensive line, I think it would be the other way around. You want Drake May in there to get some reps, but right now, even though the team looks competitive, and it is competitive, and we've beaten a good team in the Bengals, and we came very close to beating the Seahawks. The team's not we're not going to win any playoff games. We're not going to win a ring this year. So it's important to just keep the future in mind and enjoy the wins while they're here. Enjoy the close games while they're here, because I don't know if those will last this whole season, to be honest. But to really be thinking about the future, because we need an offensive line. Offensive line.
Yeah, you definitely do. It's very inexperienced. I mean, David Andrews is a really good center, but outside of that, you guys are...
It's Andrews and Onwenu, and that's...
Yeah.
Other than that, it's kind of moving parts. Like, Sadie Sal looks decent, but, he's still kind of young, still getting used to it. We don't have a left tackle. And when, wherever Onwenu isn't on the right side of the line, it's questionable at best.
Yep. Well, I want to go back to the comment section. Jessica, I saw you out there. Thank you for joining us tonight. Weston, I worked at a few fun undisclosed locations in DC as well. Tyler's not the only one. How about that, Weston? Listen, we know you get your intel from somewhere. Maybe you have some inside info from whoever's rigging and creating the script for the NFL.
What I can say unclassified is that I had to write a 16-page memo on the Middle East yesterday.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. 16 pages. Holy smokes.
I love Israel and Palestine and Iran. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Brett coming in with a hot chirp. He got the suits from Macy's for $79.89. Hey, that's a hell of a deal, brother.
Actually, not that one. Let me grab it.
Roy's saying, was that a Walmart tag?
Got this one from JCPenney's, but it's decent.
Nice, dude. I do have a JCPenney suit myself.
JCPenney is still in business.
It's lasted.
It is crazy. There's we have a shopping mall nearby here. They're the only store left. JCPenney. It's like them and an Orange Theory Fitness, and that's about it. Nothing else.
Dude, you walk, because I was living in Maine. You walk down the Portland Mall, South Portland Mall in Maine, and it's half the stores don't exist anymore. The parking lot outside is just potholes and completely unmaintained pavement. It's you can sense the decay of American malls just in the spirit of that place.
You go back to the 90s, and listen, I was born in 93, so I got the nice middle section of the 90s and then early 2000s, right? But it was always popping. That was the place to go, right? Now, nothing. So,
yep,
it's tough. It's tough. Love what my dad's saying. Dad, great to see you out there. He says, Bills cornerbacks are playing awesome. They're underrated. I 100% agree. Shout out to Christian Benford and Rasul Douglas and Cam Lewis for filling in for Taron Johnson. Those are some tough shoes to fill. I want to give a shout out to the young cat, Jamarcus Ingram, who had 2 picks in that Dolphins game, 1 for a touchdown. UB representing very proudly for the Buffalo Bills right now. It's incredible. Where's the boob on a walnut? Here we go, Brett. Brett with the jokes. Listen, he had a good joke in our group chat a little bit earlier today, and he says, give us the answer to that, by the way, Brett. Steven is my favorite correspondent. How about that? He says Anthony second, Tyler third, and then I'm getting lower and lower on his list. What the heck is that, Brett? Come on, man. We're supposed to stand in unity together. We're Bills fans.
Well, as we all know, Bills fans are only capable of hatred.
No, listen, Buffalo, say what you want. All right, say what you want.
There's only one stadium where they've thrown dildos on the field.
Okay, well, that's hilarious. That was a fun joke. That was you can't not laugh at that, right? I mean,
it's funny from an outside perspective, but to bring one into the stadium is, it's a real sign that there's something deeply wrong with it.
We are degenerates.
Yeah, just one. We need multiple at least.
Yeah, for sure. We are a degenerate fan base, but we're very nice. We're open. We tell everyone, come on in, drink with us, smash some tables with us. We're all about that. The Buffalo is the city of good neighbors. It's a beautiful thing. And listen, I need all you boys to come up for a game because I will show you the greatest tailgate of your lives.
That's going to happen.
I do have to say, I thought I hated the Buffalo fans a lot until I did a little research and realized how much money they donate to people. I didn't realize it until I saw the Tua thing, and then they said something about the kicker with the cats, and then they did something for somebody on the 49ers. I don't have the list in front of me now. I saw it 3 days ago. It might have even been Monday at work, which would have been yesterday. They all blend together, but either way, a lot of respect for the Bills Mafia fan out of me lately. Yeah, that to me is really cool. There's no other fan base that you see going out and just getting together and putting money towards, a rival team's charity. I think that's really cool.
The best was when we broke the 17-year playoff drought and Andy Dalton threw that pass to Tyler Boyd, and Andy Dalton's organization blew up. We gave him a standing ovation when
it was
came
like 200-some thousand. I remember seeing that one. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then any type of tragedy that strikes in the NFL, I will say we're one of the first fan bases to rise to the occasion. We put out a GoFundMe and we donate to that cause or whatever, whatever it is. Absolutely.
Which I don't understand it, but the news only reports the bad news. They don't ever report that stuff. And if they do, they only tell you guys. They don't tell the other teams what's going. You know what I mean? Maybe on your fan page it's blown up, but not mine. It's pretty cool.
I gotta say, outside of all the chirping, I do like the Buffalo Bills as a fan base. And it feels kind of bad that you guys had to suffer through,
that don't feel bad to me.
Thank you for the empathy. I appreciate that.
I can have empathy, but I still can wish suffering upon your team.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, you do all that you want. Just love a little bit of empathy.
You can have 2 wins per year, and those can be in,
against the Jets.
What's the stadium? Yeah, exactly. In MetLife, and then at home when the Jets come to visit.
Fair enough. Weston, Jake is lower and lower on my list. Comment, Brett. LOL. Is that alluding to me just being really slow with the comments? Because yes, I am. I really apologize, guys. I'm trying to catch up on all these. I thought it was because of all the chicken wings, JK. I do eat a lot of chicken wings. My personal record is 39 in one sitting, and I aim to break that at some point. Super Bowl is coming. I'm telling everyone to mark and stamp it. I'm calling it. Absolutely. Results from multiple concussions can be problematic later in life, not a broken hand. That's true. Yeah, definitely.
I think a broken hand could be because it's complicated.
Yeah.
Floyd Mayweather changed his style entirely. Floyd Mayweather broke his hand 3 times early in his career. There was rumors he was going to retire. He just turned into a defensive fighter that just only counterpunched and hoped to make it till the 10th round. And that's what he did.
That's right.
Yeah. Switch stance.
These
I
are
gotta pull this
complicated
up.
things.
I have to pull up the this picture for you guys because Brett just reminded me. Actually, this is just a video. Never mind. Nonetheless, he said I didn't get the Keon Coleman reference. That's on me. The Macy's comment was a direct correlation to the Keon Coleman press conference when he walked in with that yellow jacket. They asked him where he got it from. He said Macy's. So, guy's got a hell of a personality. Hell of a personality. Roy, Joe Ferguson for the Bills is my first memories of watching the Bills. He was a hell of a quarterback, man. He was the first number 12 here in Buffalo. He wore number 12, then Jim Kelly took it over. But a lot of people don't remember how good Joe Ferguson was. He was fantastic. Weston, hey, I saw Brody Croyle and Tyler Thigpen. Hey, former Dolphins quarterback Tyler Thigpen and former Bills quarterback Tyler Thigpen. Saw those days with the Chiefs. LOL.
Shout out to Brody Croyle. He was drafted under the Chiefs the year that they wound up having Hard Knocks.
Yes.
And Hard Knocks went out of their way to have Joe Namath appear there because he was an Alabama quarterback and both of them had big noses. So
That's
obviously
awesome.
He was going to be the next Joe Namath.
I love that. Dude, that was a great Hard Knocks. I remember Casey Printers was in a quarterback competition on there. And they asked him, he said, originally coming in, they said, like, what do you have to do to make the team? And he's like, honestly, you got to make chickens or something out of chicken shit or something like that. And that was like a big comment on the show. Hilarious.
Chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Chicken salad out of chicken shit. Yeah, that's right.
And he's like, I did that. And the coach is like, yeah, you did. Anyway, you're cut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The chicken salad did not taste good enough, okay?
It was the offensive coordinator, I think, that cut him. But yeah.
Yes. Yep. Who was that? Gosh. He was with the Redskins, too, at one point.
I know who you're talking about. Saunders?
Al Saunders. Yes. Al Saunders. There we go.
Good OC. Really good OC.
Yeah. Here we go. This was the joke. Brett said, joke of the day, what type of coordination did Whitney Houston have? I'll let you guys linger on that one. Roy saying, allegedly, can't prove if the dildos were used. That's true.
I mean, they were used for at least a flying instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weston, I wouldn't mind jumping off a couple buses and landing on a few tables. I'm going to drown. Oh, yeah, dude. Listen, it gets a little rowdy at those tailgates. We've had the latest is actually, I think Anthony put it in our Discord, guys jumping off a bus. I also witnessed. Yeah. And no injuries, surprisingly. I mean, I'm sure the next day they're pretty sore, but.
That he admitted to.
Right. That's true. He said, no, I was responding to Brett's question. 57 wings for you, Brett. How big were those wings? I mean, listen, if they're Florida wings, that doesn't count. We're talking buffalo wings, brother. We do things bigger here. Your Florida wings are like.
This is the same guy that said he's going to form tackle me. Okay.
We got to get that going, by the way.
Well, next time what we got to do is we got to get the two of you on here together. Two Bills correspondents, of course, and then you both need to sit down and as we're talking, whoever can eat the most chicken wings.
That's a great competition. However, we got to make it consistent. So he needs to have the same type of wing. We need to have Brett come up here to Buffalo. We'll both sit in the same room, and then we'll do it. We'll get cameras right on the plates and everything. It's going to be wild. Joey Chestnut, we're coming for you.
I hope you don't swallow those whole.
I can't. I know people that can do that. They just put it right in. Just crazy. Hand-eye will always love you. There it is. That's the Whitney Houston joke.
Sounds like Brett's joke.
Anchor bar wings. Okay, interesting. He says, Weston, give me the biggest and spiciest wings in Buffalo, and I'm down. All right. Brett says he'll take that bet. All right, brother. All right. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. All right, let's get back into talking a little bit about the Week 2 recap, and then we're going to get into our primetime Week 3 matchup. So want to go to Anthony quick here, talk about your Jets and Titans game. I mean, you guys did everything in the world to give the Titans that game and still came out with a victory.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
For sure. So functionally, like it doesn't take me long before I can admit that I hate Nathaniel Hackett. I didn't like his father, and I really don't like him. So really, the whole Hackett family can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I actually decided, but I did some research for this. I went back because you watch a game and you get a feeling about a thing. And the feeling that I got is that every single first down, they just ran the ball. That was just what they did on every single first. That's what it felt like to me. Just get my vibes. Went back, did some research. It wasn't every single first down. They had 14 first downs. If we're not counting the 15th one where they kneeled the ball down just to kill the clock. 14 first downs. They only ran the ball 13 of them.
I'm Jason Garrett right now.
Yeah. No, it was disgusting. We have to. I know you guys. You know how offensive coordinator nobody ever liked Hackett. Why would they? Why would they? He's a crap coordinator. He's absolutely garbage. That's why he didn't even make it a full season in Denver. And you see what Denver's doing right now with Sean Payton. They're willing to tolerate Sean Payton making Bo Nix play, whatever disaster that is. So Hackett ran the ball 13 of their 14 offensive first downs, which let's pretend that's not predictable. For just a second. We could barely move the football. We weren't really trying very hard. And Will Levis did everything he could to give the game away. And it was still only a 1-score game. How do I feel about that win? Towards the end of the game, it felt like we got into a flow. It did feel like, all right, cool. We've got Braylon Allen. We'll use him as a hammer, which was good. We performed pretty well with pony personnel, something that the Dolphins do, which 2 halfbacks. It's really good. It's really effective for us, especially because our second and third receivers are bad right now. I'm still not convinced that we are going to sit on our hands. I'm pretty sure we're going to trade for Devontae at some point in the middle of the season. Because I just can't see us continuing to trot out Allen, Lazard, and Mike Williams. Mike Williams, he had that one really nice catch, but he still only had like 20 snaps per game. And I don't know why we're pretending like he's going to be able to be on a full workload by the time we get to the meat of this this schedule. How did we play? Defense was fine. Jermaine Johnson tore his Achilles. I don't really care. He doesn't do anything anyway. I mean, he's a power rusher and he's a lot of fun, but Will McDonald's the one that got 3 sacks.
Right.
So if this just frees up Will McDonald to play more, I'm fine with it. I don't think that we need to cave to Hassan Reddick still. I don't care about Hassan Reddick. He's completely irrelevant to me. As far as I'm concerned, we can trade him straight up to Philadelphia for Bryce Huff, who they're getting nothing out of it right now anyway. The defense was fine. The offensive line is great. As far as like pass protection, the offensive line is fantastic. I don't understand, like going into the season, they were talking about how we're going to be using a few more gap principles. I didn't see it at all. Through 2 games, I don't remember seeing like pulling guards. I don't see any trap blocks. I don't see anything that's reminiscent of gap play at all. It's all just like front side zone. It's all just like outside zone as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can tell. And I've watched the tape. It's not like that's all I'm seeing is slide protection and zone. So like,
well, if you do anything more complicated, Hackett might actually die of a brain aneurysm.
That's the thing. Let me get back to Hackett for a second. So like,
that's brutal, man.
We desperately need to survive Hackett's scripted plays. Like, so like every offensive coordinator, most offensive coordinators in the NFL script their first 10 or 15 plays or whatever. They get us freaking nothing until Aaron Rodgers is allowed to start checking out of his horrible play calls. We have to survive our offensive coordinators scripting plays. If you watch the first 3 series of us or 4, we got basically no offensive play at all.
Anthony,
in either game.
I have a very important question for you. You have to answer on the spot.
Go ahead, Tyler.
So there, you have 2 options for offensive coordinators. You can either have Nathaniel Hackett on the one hand, or you can have Matt Patricia.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
Because I think I might take Matt Patricia over Nathaniel Hackett.
I'm not sure that I would take Matt Patricia. I wouldn't take Matt Patricia. I would still take Nathaniel Hackett, but like, it's really upsetting to me that he's so bad at scripting that we give up our first 3 or 4 possessions. Like, that's not good. This is the NFL where, like, if teams get a lead on you, they tee off on your quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is doing a great job. He's a hero in the second half of both games until the San Francisco game was completely uncompetitive. Some of those throws that he made in the San Francisco game were phenomenal.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So I know in Green Bay when Nathaniel Hackett, was it Nathaniel Hackett or was it his dad?
Yes, it was. He was the coordinator, but it was Matt LaFleur called the plays anyway.
So when he was there, though, it seemed like Aaron Rodgers had a lot more control of the offense. Does he? I haven't watched a whole lot of Jets. Does he not have control of the offense?
He has control. It appears like he has control after the scripted plays are done.
Okay.
Because all of the adjustments that are done all right, so the reason that they script plays is because you're throwing out different personnel groups. You're looking for how the defense is going to match up to the players that you have out there. So formations they're going to throw. Are they going to show zone? Are they going to show blitzes? How are they going to react to your personnel groups? So the reactions that they're making, the adjustments that they're making off of those have been pretty impressive. Has Aaron been
doing like line work like he was doing in Green Bay?
He's been checking at the line, but it's not for the first 13 or 14 plays because Nathaniel Hackett's looking for clean looks off of what he's showing the defense.
It's just a slow start.
But you can't afford to continue starting slow like this.
And that's our problem too in Miami. We love to start slow.
It's abysmal, and like the game is not like it used to be, where like both teams are okay just punting it over and over again. Last night's game in Philadelphia being like sort of almost the opposite of modern football because both teams seem to be like in a hurry to get out of the stadium because they had dinner reservations. Like neither team was doing anything but running the football, running the clock down 38 seconds and then snapping the ball again.
Yeah.
So like it's really kind of an issue to me that like they're giving up possessions because those are hard to come by. And then your defense is on the field a lot. We were on the defense, like there were 23 plays run at some point by the Titans to the Jets like 11. We won that game and we had 2 takeaways or 3, and we still only had 15 first downs.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah.
Like we're giving up possessions after 3 downs and punting it and then hoping for the defense to continue to hold. And that's just not going to work against good football teams. These Titans suck. That said, it did look by the second half that the offense is starting to come together. Now, keep in mind the whole preseason, nobody in the offense played. Everybody was in bubble wrap. It makes sense that we started slow against San Francisco. It makes sense that we started slow against the Titans, but we really need to be able to show some fireworks on offense. It's not going to work. It can't just be first down, run Breece Hall out of shotgun into a draw with an 8-man front.
Yeah.
Just because you want to see a look.
Yeah.
So How do I feel about it? I feel fine because I did see evidence of the offense working better. I did see evidence of the offensive line gelling. They are one of the best pass protecting units in the NFL. They're not getting much creativity with the run game. The defense is still very much on fire. Once CJ Mosley got hurt, oh my God, did the defense get better. Holy crap. CJ Mosley, I think, is washed. I think last year was that final year of him being good. Once we had the backup middle linebacker in there, Jamie Sherwood, who's a safety that they drafted a couple of years ago, converted him from free safety all the way to linebacker. Took 3 years to convert him, but here he is as a 4th year, and he's a starter, and he's good. So let's see how we go through New England. But like that game's going to get ugly, and I hope that we can win ugly again.
Good luck. You'll need it.
Does that explain it?
That explains it. How about the young cat, Braylon Allen? Youngest player to score a touchdown in a game since 1933.
2 touchdowns.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I like that kid a lot. I was a big fan of him coming into the draft process and as a good pick for you guys in the 4th round. I am curious, though, what the hell is going on with Malachi Corley? What's the deal? Why isn't he more involved in the offense?
Reasonable question. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. You were a big proponent of Malachi Corley. I wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to try to Randall Cobb him, and they've done nothing with him. They've literally been on the shelf.
That's crazy. And you figure, so the Titans, like, call it what you will, like they're not a good team, but they're a physical defense. Niners, a physical defense. Like that is the guy to get the ball to when you're playing a physical team, and they just haven't.
Braylon Allen didn't play a single snap in the first game. against the Niners. Not
yeah,
one.
that's crazy. Yeah, right.
I don't know. They in his history, as far as I know, Robert Saleh has always been really bad with like self-scouting.
Yeah.
Like he has an idea what he wants out of a player, but like, and if he doesn't get that exact same thing, he starts complaining until the player's like gets traded away or they cut him or whatever. But like in terms of like self-scouting, he doesn't seem to get like they drafted Izzy Abanikanda last year in the fourth round. He hasn't been active the first 2 games. They drafted 2 running backs this year. Braylon Allen only got his first carries this past week. Isaiah Davis is still just returning kicks. Like you drafted 2 running backs and like you're not playing any of them. Your wide receivers, like do you know how many 1 wide receiver routes they had out there?
Right.
They're running
like
Conklin can't block, but like they're using him as a blocking tight end. Conklin has 1 catch on the year.
That's insane. Because he was averaging like 5 to 6 last year per game.
Yeah. I don't understand. Like the personnel usage has been abysmal. But again, we're starting to round into form, and maybe Aaron Rodgers is going to be like, I like this guy. I don't like this guy. We're figuring this out. That's fine. I like the adjustments he's making at the line. Like game 1 against the 49ers, he made that a slight adjustment with Garrett Wilson and just back shouldered against man. Did the exact same thing this week with Mike Williams.
So like, catch, by the way.
It was, both of them are absolutely disgusting. Like he's still got an arm. He's still got it. I think they'll get it together. It's going to take a little bit of time. I don't, if we make the playoffs, I don't want Saleh back. I don't want Saleh back now. I fire him right now out of a cannon and go get that Kubiak guy. I'll take a Kubiak kid.
Clint Kubiak, man.
I'll take a Kubiak kid. I like a Kubiak kid. I like the first Kubiak. Give me the second Kubiak. The first one was great.
Yeah.
Fire him out.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm surprised that he lasted as long as he has so far, especially in New York, just because that's a brutal town to lose games in, so
Saleh has clearly underperformed like his job, like with the talent he's had. He's clearly underperformed, but there have been just enough injuries where I think he's able to go to the owner every single year and be like, I just got unlucky, man. You got to give me another shot. Come on.
I don't know, man. I've never seen a hard luck case in the modern NFL like Robert Saleh. Just gets an excuse time after time after time. Oh, my offense is bad. I know I hired my best friend's little brother, but like, just give me another chance, boss.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I thought he'd be good at his job. It's not just my fault.
Just get me Hackett. Hackett will get me Aaron Rodgers. It'll be all great. And then Aaron Rodgers goes down. We don't have any plan. We'll just go back to Zach Wilson. Well, stuff happens, guys. I know you asked me. I know I drafted a defensive end in the first round twice. In both years, they only got 17% of snaps. What am I going to do, though?
It's just no accountability. I think that's what's the most frustrating part. It's like,
do you know how many penalties have we had in the last? Like, I think we had something like 9 penalties in the first 2 quarters.
Well, that's not Saleh's job. Saleh's job is to stand on the sideline and look cool.
Chuck Clark, Sauce Gardner got burned for a touchdown. Do you know why he got burned for a touchdown? Because Chuck Clark was coming in the fire with friendly fire, and Sauce decided to make a business decision, which was the correct decision. Chuck Clark had 2 defensive, what are they called? Not roughing the passer. He had 2 defensive penalty.
Like unnecessary roughness?
Unnecessary roughness. He had 2 unnecessary roughness calls and almost took Sauce Gardner out for his life in the same friggin' game. And he's still playing out there.
That's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Chad,
thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Chad.
I want to give a shout out to Chad. Yeah. Chad is a fantastic friend of the channel. He's been not on this show, but he's been on our channel before. Always so generous with the super chats. Thank you so much, Chad. He says, sorry, just joining. Thoughts about the Tua and Jets injuries. So we talked about Tua at the beginning of the show a little bit, but Steven, I'll let you kind of recap and give your take on it quick.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he should retire. I think that they should give him a full year off, listen to some offers that come in, kind of run with what the quarterbacks they have now. Maybe take a look at Tannehill, but ultimately kind of stay patient, see what Dallas wants to do. Jerry Jones has said that he wants to trade for a running back somewhere down the line in the season, and they have, Trey Lance, who I think is a step above Skylar Thompson. I don't think he's the answer at quarterback, but I think he's somebody that would be a better backup situation for when Tua does come back. To tell him he has to retire, I think is unfair to him and his family. Obviously, yes, he's rich. Obviously, yes, he's had some success in his life and doesn't need to work anymore. It doesn't need football. But just because you don't need something doesn't mean you don't want something. And we don't know what his ambitions are. And if he thinks he's good and wants to keep playing, I think it would be unfair to tell him no.
Love that answer. I think that's a great response. Anth, you talked a little bit about the Jets' injuries. Obviously, Jermaine Johnson going down with a torn Achilles. CJ Mosley, what's the injury for him?
I don't remember what the injury is. It was that I don't even know if they've announced it. They just said that he's
okay.
I don't think it's until like tomorrow where they have to like officially declare him whether or not he's questionable. But Saleh said that he's 50-50, which means he's 90-10 not playing. That's a Saleh thing. I'm not really concerned about our injuries because CJ Mosley got hurt and the team got better. Right. Jermaine Johnson went down and Will McDonald had 3 sacks.
Yeah.
I don't care.
How about Solomon Thomas? Solomon Thomas had a nice day.
Solly looked great. Solly's looked great all season. Like he's playing on a contract year, and I think he's looking for a paycheck. Solly's good. He's getting pressure fast. I'm not really concerned with any of the Jets' injuries right now. As long as they're not on the offensive side, I don't really care. As far as I'm concerned, Saleh's going to have the next man up everything. Sauce Gardner doesn't look completely right. Fine. Next man up. DJ Reed
are deep
down this week. What's up?
You guys are deep in the defensive area.
Yeah, because we have a defensive coach that makes us keep drafting defensive players. And honestly, he's very good at developing them.
Hey, defense wins championships. I mean, Joe Flacco's a Super Bowl winning champion. Trent Dilfer won a championship. Like Seattle,
older NFLs.
Though. Yeah, the basics always come back. Basics always come back,
but they couldn't get the second because sometimes your defense just isn't good enough.
They did have.
Well, sometimes you just make a boneheaded play call and don't run Marshawn Lynch. Because that was ultimately right.
But the fact that they got there, you haven't seen the play, like the big play down the field, the way they got that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was insane luck on both ends.
I saw a stat today that said this is the first time since the Brady era that we haven't had at least 100 passing touchdowns in the first 2 weeks of the NFL.
Yeah.
The quarterback
passing numbers are down, man.
I know that passing numbers are down. My theory on that is that they're playing fewer and fewer teams in the preseason. There's fewer and fewer offensive setups in the preseason. I think by the end of the year it's going to be a little bit different. But like these guys, these starters, these offensive lines aren't getting reps together. These starters aren't going to play.
There's not so much cohesion early in the season.
Exactly. We know, Taylor Epps.
He's one of those guys too. He's a thumper, but sometimes you pay for it.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Chiefs. They did, but they also had the best quarterback in the NFL, and that'll go a long way too.
That's definitely true. Yeah, you could argue that in that Super Bowl in particular, it was the defense that really.
I mean, you could argue that, but I think even if the defense wasn't didn't play as good, Brady still would have outdueled Mahomes because whenever it mattered, when it was Brady versus Mahomes, you knew who was winning that game, and it was Brady.
I love
because
that.
In 2018.
Actually, I don't know if I love that. Those are two quarterbacks that have just beaten down on us, and I am conflicted with that statement, Tyler. But you're right, probably.
Well, Brady also beat the Jets a lot, so that must bring you some joy, right?
Brady beat everybody a lot. It wasn't just the Jets.
A good DC that makes adjustments, yeah, for sure. Steve Spagnuolo might be. I mean, literally, this dude is worthy of a Hall of Fame induction just because of what he's done as a defensive coordinator. I mean, how many rings is 5 rings he has? I think it's a
true,
DC.
Yeah. Because he was also the guy that ruined some Patriots' hopes back in the day.
That he did. Yes,
are there other DCs that are like strictly DCs that were inducted in the Hall of Fame? Like, was Dick LeBeau?
Dick LeBeau would be that guy, but I think he was actually inducted as a player first. But obviously, as a coach, did amazing things. Yeah, as a player with the Lions, he had like 57 career interceptions, something ridiculous. You look at his numbers; they're insane.
I didn't know that.
He was a corner back in the day. Yeah,
that's crazy.
But as a coach, I mean, he was a longtime defensive coordinator with the Pittsburgh Steelers and did some amazing things. He was a coach. He had head coach for the Bengals, but it did not go well.
No.
But as a DC, he was great.
Yeah, his time both with the Carolina Panthers and his legendary runs with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2 or 3 of them, I think.
Yep. Yeah, that's true, Weston. Teams are doing that cover 2 shell. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So it's harder, a lot of disguising too, I think. That's a great point. Offenses are having to be more patient than ever. Absolutely, Mike. Spagnuolo has 4 rings. Okay, 4 rings.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, because it was 2 with Giants, 2 with Chiefs so far. So, yeah, that
right.
checks out. Is it
That's
only
crazy.
2 with, isn't it 3 with the Chiefs, though? Or did they...
Was he there in... I thought it was
I think because they fired, wasn't it like Bob Sutton or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be 5 then, because he got the 2 with the Giants, and then... Didn't he get 2 with the Giants?
4 and Weston saying 4. You guys got to fact check me on that one, please.
Okay, I'm just gonna quickly tab over.
Yeah,
maybe he missed one of the Giants.
Okay, that's what it was. That makes sense.
Champion?
He did miss one of the Giants. Yeah, because he was with the Rams as their coach. That makes sense. Got it. All right, boys. Listen, I don't want to rehash too much on this Dolphins-Bills game. Listen, I'm fired up as hell, but we've done multiple shows about it. All I have to say is that this offense, again, everyone seemed to contribute in one way or another. What I loved is the fact that, Josh Allen obviously banged up with his hand. Didn't really have to do a whole lot. Some of the throws he made were still insane. But it really wasn't the Josh Allen show like it has been in years past against Miami, right? Like, he still did amazing things, don't get me wrong. But the running game, it was very, emblematic of that Dallas Cowboys game last year where we just ran down their throats. I mean, James Cook was getting everything he wanted and then some. I thought the offensive line played extremely well for us, and I don't think they're talked about enough. I do not agree. The PFF grades are awful, and I don't understand why, because even looking at pressure rates and everything like that and run blocking rates, we're top 5 in the league with all that stuff.
I'll tell you why later, in the chat.
Okay. I'm interested to hear.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't like PFF per se. I just think it's a tool.
I think they used to be a lot better, but the issue is they got about 3 years ago that's taken over by private equity. That's why all of the top tier people on the podcasts and whatever have slowly been drifting off to different places. They were bought by private equity, and they've slowly phased out all the expensive employees.
Classic.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
So now they will die a slow death, and when PFF is gone, it will not be with a bang, but it will be with a whimper, if that.
That's right. Yeah, Weston, Bail Inspector played an amazing game. Yeah, we had one major injury in that game, and it was Terrell Bernard. He went out with a strained pectoral. Luckily, it is not torn. He's expected to only miss about a month of time, but Bail Inspector came in and filled in really well. The Bills are a great, you look at a blueprint of next man up, the Bills really have done a good job with that, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. Talk about Jamarcus Ingram, who had 2 interceptions in this game. Undrafted free agent, comes in, I think over his career had 3 tackles over 3 seasons, hasn't done a whole lot, came in, filled in great. He was basically our dime safety in this game, and just so impressed with him, man. So, yeah, Bail Inspector, another guy who I think is going to fill in well. Not as athletic as Terrell Bernard, but football IQ is right there. So love to see it. Mike, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. He says, for Anthony, does he still think the Bills aren't a playoff team? Great question, Mike.
I think that with the free win they just got against the Dolphins, and the fact that the Dolphins are probably done for the season, they're going to be a playoff team. Not because I think they're a phenomenal team or they're a better team than they were last year. I think they're a worse team than they were last year, but I think that they're just going to get in there with attrition. That said, I mean, we're looking at a team like the Steelers that might be better than I thought they were. So that's the top 7 teams that make it to the playoffs. The Chargers are worse than I thought they were going to be.
NFL's weird. The Ravens, 0-2?
Pats are better.
So,
the Pats are 1-1 right now.
Yeah, they are. They are. I mean, yeah, they are. I don't think I think they're going to make the playoffs. It's not that they are or they aren't. I just don't think the team is I don't think you guys have the horses to compete against the better teams in the league still. I haven't.
That may be a fair statement. I really think what they do in these next 3 weeks is going to be very telling. I mean, it's all primetime games too. We're playing Monday night against Jacksonville, which I'll talk about in a minute here.
Mhm.
And then we have the Ravens on Sunday night at Baltimore. Okay. And still, like, the Ravens, don't sleep on them. They're still the Baltimore Ravens, right? They can get
Yep.
right fast. And then we got the Jets or the Texans, and then the Jets after that. So
Yeah.
a lot of big games coming up here. So this is really, I think this next stretch is going to really determine the path of the Buffalo Bills.
I don't disagree.
Listen,
I don't disagree.
I'm
I
very
want to see the
optimistic.
young guys. I want to see your young guys start to step up. You guys haven't really been tested yet. The Cardinals,
Yep.
they shouldn't have been a test, and the Dolphins, they were out of that game before. They were out of the game.
They were.
And that's about as
But
close as
I'll
you
say
get
this.
in the NFL to a bye week.
34 points and 31 points. I'm very happy with that to start off the year. And I know, listen, the Cardinals game was close, but I don't think the Cardinals are that bad of a team either, though. Like,
I don't think so either. And I honestly, you see the Cardinals starting to round into form. They're going to be more dangerous as the season gets on. Don't be surprised if they're a playoff team by the end of the year.
For sure. Yeah.
Angels are kind of setting themselves up. So you got to kind of wait until, a couple more weeks to really get an idea of who you played and what it means.
It's hard. First 2 weeks is brutal. I mean, I remember the Lions started like 6-2 the one year, then they go on to finish 7-9. The Bills have done it multiple times. They start 4-0, then they finish 7-9. So it's really early to tell. I am very encouraged and optimistic, and I love the way that this offense is it's selfless. That's the best term I could say for this offense. It's the most selfless offense I've seen in years. I mean, there is no Steph Diggs where you're throwing him the ball 12 times regardless. Like, this is dispersing the football. I don't care about numbers, stats. We're just going to win football games, and I'm okay with that. Even Josh Allen, his numbers are down, but the best part is, I know you guys talked about turnovers, right? He's got 1 this year. Last year at this time, I think the first game he had 4 turnovers. So I'm happy to see it for sure. Roy, Spectre has to stay healthy. That's his biggest issue. Definitely. Yeah, that has been a major concern for him over the last few years. Bengals look better than an 0-2 team. Yep, I agree with that.
Against Kansas City,
Yeah. Cardinals dropped 41 on the Rams, who almost beat the Lions. True. Yeah. The NFL's weird. Again, it's really weird. I think a team can look one way one week and then another way the next week. There hasn't been a whole lot of consistency. I'd say the Bills are definitely consistent in that sense, right? Through the first 2 weeks, but these next few games are really going to determine their path. But let's get into the previews, guys. Let's get into the previews, Roy. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Let's talk about this Thursday night game, because listen, this is the primetime matchup that we should be talking about. This is the AFC East Summit. We got 2 AFC East teams facing off against each other. 2 Thursdays in a row now we have this. We got the Patriots at the Jets. So, Tyler, I'm going to start with you. I want you to give me one reason why the Patriots will win this game and one reason why they won't win this game.
Sure. So the reason, if they win, it's going to be a defensive game all around. And, Anthony was talking a lot earlier about how Nathaniel Hackett likes to just throw away portions of the game for no reason. And the Pats defense has looked pretty good this year. And but definitely they have been good at forcing turnovers so far. Yeah. And so if some of those bad offensive plays turn into turnovers, there could be problems for the Jets early on. And, if the Jets either get stopped in their own territory really far back, or if there's a turnover down there, short fields for our offense, we could score some points and just try to hold on through the game. Now, with that being said, the defense is good, and I think that's our best shot at winning the game. The offense, I don't think is going to be up to snuff, especially the offensive line in this game. It's going to be like, get the ball out quickly. We cannot sit back. We can't have long development plays. We're not going to be throwing any long touchdowns, because any attempt at that is just going to be blown up by the Jets defense and the defensive line, especially. So it's, and it's going to be difficult on the defensive side to force a win, because Aaron Rodgers doesn't really do turnovers. So it would have to be luck-based, like fumbles, kind of fluky plays. So, objectively, it'll be difficult. But luckily, the Patriots do have a great record against the Jets in the last couple of decades. And, maybe that legacy will see us through.
Yeah, I think one thing, obviously, with you guys, how about the return of Hunter Henry? I mean, what a day for him. I think you need to continue making him a focal point of that offense, especially if CJ Mosley does play.
It's better than it was last year. Like, for sure, the offense is better than it was last year, 100%.
Definitely.
The offensive line is just so concerning to me.
But even so, you guys have been running the football really well. I mean,
Yeah,
both Antonio Gibson and Ramondre Stevenson have been killing it for you guys.
It's like one of those weird things where they can run block, but they, pass protection just doesn't quite hold up sometimes. So one of those weird football phenomena that you couldn't ever explain to somebody who doesn't watch the sport.
That's fair. And the Jets, I mean, they have a hell of a pass rush. So, Anth, I'm going to go to you. One reason why the Jets will win this game, one reason why they will lose this game. And then I want predictions from the both of you, like real predictions. Give me the in-depth, nitty-gritty, stats, scores, you name it.
All right. One reason why we could win this game, why we will win this game, is simply because Jacoby Brissett hasn't beat anybody this year. He's been lucky to not lose them games, but he hasn't been good. And they're getting pressure up on every spot in that line really, really fast. I think that they might have snuck up a bit on the Seahawks. And I definitely think they grinded out a win. Week 1, I forget who was it again. Was it the Cincinnati? Yeah, they grinded out a win against the Cincinnati team that really just doesn't look like it has any life in it right now. So I think that the best chance the Jets have is to play a clean football game. I don't think that the Patriots can beat us straight up, and I don't think Tyler disagrees with that. That said, one way we can lose is the exact way that Tyler said, which is some stupid fumbles. Like it's a fumble by Breece Hall that gets returned for a touchdown. A fumble by Garrett Wilson. Penalties. That's another one. We just give up too many friggin' penalty yards. And like the accumulation of Ramondre Stevenson and the Patriots staying on the field too long, wearing out the defense, the same playbook that we've seen run against us in the past. Like I think that's their shot to win. It's they win the penalty game, they win the turnover game, they grind out a football win, and we're not going to win by playing 13 or 17 points, and the Patriots score 20.
We're not going to win by playing some conventional 2020 football game where it's like, you have some passes and runs. It's going to be like grinding.
Love that.
The shout out to Tyler calling on his ancestors to help him win. Ancestors.
Jets quarterbacks, those Jets quarterbacks, they see ghosts sometimes, man. And maybe Tom Brady shows up.
That guy that's seeing ghosts right now is seeing Lamar Jefferson, and it's looking, or Justin Jefferson, it's looking a lot prettier.
That it is. Yeah. A guy that you thought basically his career was ruined, right, as a New York Jet, doing some really, really impressive things out in Minnesota right now. Sam Darnold, shout out to him, man, for sure.
I think if you just stick in the league long enough, eventually, like, you get to a good offensive coordinator. He's always had all the talent in the world.
The Jets stink will wear off of you. Geno Smith shows this too. You'll eventually be good at playing quarterback again.
It took Geno 9 years, and it's taken Sam Darnold like 6. Like, the fact of the matter is, it's hard to be a quarterback in the NFL. Starting these guys day one is not ideal, and it shouldn't be anybody's plan. And that's why you and I and I'm sure Tyler are thrilled about the fact that Drake May is sitting behind Jacoby Brissett, because
Bryce Young
to be a quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, we're seeing Bryce Young break in front of us, and Caleb Williams hasn't been particularly great either. Jaden Daniels is surviving by the fact that he can run, not because he can throw. I'm a Terry McLaurin owner in fantasy, and it sucks.
Like Stroud is
likewise
the rule.
So it's hard to be a quarterback in the NFL, especially right now where offenses are dumbed down and defenses are not. So take your licks when you can. But
to add to that, I'm super happy nobody ever gave up on Baker Mayfield, because there was a point in time where I thought Baker was out the league, and he's probably one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch to date.
That's another example, though.
Great karma for the Browns. Great karma for the Browns. They trade everything for Deshaun Watson, give him a 5-year fully guaranteed contract, and he is way worse than Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
he's terrible. I mean, the Browns single-handedly ruined the quarterback market.
Yeah, they did.
Maybe, yeah. Okay, predictions. We sacked Jacoby Brissett 5 times. There.
Love that. And final score? What do you think?
I don't know. This has got to be the get-right game. It's going to be 27-17.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of points in a grinder battle like that. Listen, so we have 2 games on the schedule that I circled this week outside of my Buffalo Bills, right? I have this game and then I have the Chargers and Steelers. You know why? Because these games are as much of a football guy game as you're going to get. It's just tough nose, hat on a hat football, and I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for Thursday night. I don't care if this game ends up 9-3. I prefer it. I love that stuff. So 27-17, Anth, I like it. Okay, maybe I'll smash the over in this one. Tyler, what do you got?
Maybe Pat's like 16-13, grinding out of a game.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Helped by the Jets, Jets fumbling at some point, whether that's Brees Hall or a receiver, or a sack fumble, because that's possible. Because so what I didn't talk about is that our defensive line and our pass rush has been actually pretty decent.
It has. Keon White, brother. Holy
Keon White could get in there and blow up Aaron Rodgers, and that's it's possible. So I'd say some turnover, 16-13, something like that, grind it out, and ruin some Jets' dreams, as we always do. That's our God-given right.
That's fun. I love it. All right. Well, hey, we got 2 ends of the spectrum there. I'm just going to throw one out there, and I agree with you both. I'm not going to give a prediction on who wins, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring affair for sure. And
how dare you?
Listen.
How's that fence feel? Right between your cheeks.
You know what? I'm done being a fence sitter. You know what I'm going to say? Yeah. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Jacoby Brissett.
I'm man.
17-14 off the leg of Greg Legotron Zerline. Game winner. Jeff,
you sent Tyler to the nether regions.
I've got a God-blessed American tie, and when the Patriots win this game, I will hang you with it.
I can't wait for you to show up on a Victory Monday wearing green for the Jets. Victory Tuesday.
I don't have anything green. Look at this.
We did start putting some bets out there, like you got to wear the other team's jersey when you come on the AFC East Summit or something. For these matchups, for the interdivision matchups, we got to spice it up a little bit. So we got to start thinking of some ideas for that. Maybe not this week.
I have
maybe
literally nothing green in my wardrobe. So tough sell.
Might have to go over to like Sabres or something and buy yourself a Jonathan Vilma Jets jersey like I did one time. I don't want to talk about it. All right, Steven, let's talk about this matchup with the Seattle Seahawks. Listen, I think the Seahawks are actually a pretty decent team. Like I'm kind of impressed with what they've been able to do offensively. Like, no offense, Tyler, they kind of picked you guys apart in the pass game. I mean, Jackson Smith and Jigba had like 12 catches. DK Metcalf had 10. Like, those dudes went off against you guys. Geno Smith threw over 300 yards. Like, monster day. Steven, how are we feeling about this matchup? Obviously, the big news, Tua being placed on IR. Who's going to is it going to be Skylar Thompson? Is he going to start this game?
Okay. He is. He's the guy. I think he's going to be the guy for a few weeks, obviously, until they get somebody else up to date. You can't just throw Huntley in there. But if anybody follows the Finn's forecast, you will know that I have been probably the hardest on our schedule. I have the weakest record, and this was my first loss, even with a healthy team. I think the fact that we have to travel, we're not a good traveling team. We haven't been a good traveling team since we've had Mike McDaniel, and I think that becomes a factor of preparation and discipline. Everybody sees Mike McDaniels as their best friend. So when he actually wants to get into somebody, they're like, mom's yelling at me again. Whereas if they had like a Mike Tomlin and or Bill Belichick and dad was getting on them, these guys wouldn't be having, there wouldn't be 3-4 offensive penalties a quarter. It feels like maybe a half. I'm probably getting a little heavy a quarter. But it almost seems like every drive we have something that pulls us back, whether it be false start, the receiver motion, body moving forward before the ball hiked, or receiver not set, or it's something, because there's no discipline. There's a lack of a power figure and behind the scene. There's nobody to really get these guys to be where they need to be in football form. It seems like everybody's preseason still, and we're such a second half team that you can't be like that on the road against a team like Seattle. So I had us losing this game, and if we were to win this game, it would be because our defense really stepped up and Skylar Thompson has a good game. I mean, he has to have a good game. It's not like Devon A-Chain's going to be able to just keep carrying the load. Somebody's got to get this ball to Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Somebody's got to get the ball to Jonnu Smith. Like, it's got to be Skylar Thompson, and if it's not, it's going to be a long day because our defense is. We have to score at least 2 to 3 touchdowns. I wholeheartedly think Seattle will be able to score 21 to 24 points, no problem. Our defense hasn't been, other than Calais Campbell, our defense has been mediocre. I mean, everybody's all big and hype on Jalen Ramsey's sideline to sideline tackle on Travis Etienne to stop that 4th and 1 and for us to get the ball back. But like in 2 weeks, that's all he's done. He's gotten burnt. He's had taken terrible angles. I've seen him make one good play, and that's it. He's the top paid cornerback for getting old. He looks like he's losing a step. And Javon Holland's in a contract year. I almost see him not wanting to play anymore with Tua being out, them not giving his money. Jalen Phillips is in a contract year and he's hurt. He might just sit the rest of the year. And if Tua decides not to come back, I wouldn't even put it past them two guys to eventually leave. And it's all starting here with the Seattle game. Like it's all about how this team's going to come out. And I think they're going to come out flat. I think they're going to come out flat because Tua's not there. Players have gotten paid and players haven't gotten paid, and the ones who haven't gotten paid, I don't think are too thrilled now that the season looks like it's tossed down the drain. A lot of these players have been quiet on social media. A lot of these players haven't really addressed anything, and it kind of puts into concern of how tight is this group. You know, are they that tight that they're all being silent together, or are they breaking apart and just kind of doing their own thing already at week 3 of the season? You know, so I don't see them winning this game. I see it being about 24-10, 24-9. And I see if they do win, it's going to be really tight. Like maybe Miami gets 24 and Seattle gets 21, but they have to score 3 touchdowns to win this game, or at least get 3 touchdowns worth of points to win this game.
7 field goals.
I agree. You know what? You got to protect Skylar Thompson too. I know he's more mobile than Tua, and he is like a predominantly he's a running quarterback, Skylar Thompson, right? But
he's gonna have to be.
Dude, this pass rush for Seattle is good, and the anchor is Byron Murphy. This cat is a hell of a ball player. Like Ant loves him too. This is a guy that we highlighted significantly during the days before the NFL draft. Like we talked up Byron Murphy. And what I saw last week from him was very impressive. By the way, you have Leonard Williams, you have Jaron Reed too. You got
I think your biggest playmakers on that Seattle team is, and it's because Tyler's going to have to make some decisions. Is you're going to see a lot of Reek Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. And I think yes, and I think Jerome Baker is going to try to make a statement here. He's always been our leading tackler. He's always been an average, above average, but not a great middle linebacker. He's always been able to find the ball, but it seems like the ball came to him. He was always stopping people in our backfield, not in their backfield. So I do think that this game is going to mean a lot to him, and you're going to see an aggressive Jerome Baker trying to get to that backfield, because I think that narrative might have followed him into that offseason when he left. That it doesn't matter. He lets 4 yards, 5 yards of play. You know, I think he's going to bring that heat to Miami, and I think a running back's going to feel him, and you know he might bring it back to the sideline, kind of shake his head at a coach like, "Oh, you let him go."
I love the drama. You're already inciting on this game. This is great. Yeah. I think Seattle's an underrated team. I think they have some good young talent on the team. The defense is young, and they're up and coming. I mean, they have some dogs. You talked about just the secondary alone: Reek Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, Julian Love. I mean, they're good players. They got our guy Tyrell Dotson playing linebacker for them too now, and he's a good young player.
They easily have a Legion of Boom coming back. I can see it if they draft. You know, I can't talk college because I don't really follow the players are too hard for me to follow. You know, but I imagine there's a hard-hitting safety somewhere around the college scene somewhere that if Seattle wanted to put their eyes on, they could be a whole new remake of what won them Super Bowls a few years ago.
For sure. Yeah, and Byron Murphy was my boy. It was him and Xavier Leggett who I kept taking in mock drafts back and forth. You know,
By the way,
I couldn't go.
He's at the most our boy, and I was on him first.
You're absolutely right. Actually, Anthony kind of put me on to Byron Murphy, so you're absolutely correct. Give credit where credit's due. Anthony said, "Hey, just watch his tape." Holy
This was when Kevondre Smith was supposed to be a first round pick and Byron Murphy was somewhere in the second or third round. I was like, no. I think he's better.
He's insane. He's so good.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting, man. I sadly agree with you. I do think Seattle's going to pull off a victory here. It's going to be a rough go for the next few weeks for you guys, just because of the situation. And Skylar Thompson just isn't at that same level. Now, I will say, Skylar Thompson came into Buffalo in a playoff game and did some nice things.
Because I don't see you guys often, I have an unpopular take, probably that I'm going to drop with my crew tomorrow. And I don't think they're going to receive this so well. But that's okay. I tend to shake that bottle up a little bit there. I try to be a little bit more realistic. And because I don't like our coaching I love Mike McDaniel, but I don't love the coaching staff. I think, I just want to drop this off because I don't know how much I'm going to talk to you guys. I think by the end of the season, Mike McDaniel might get demoted to offensive coordinator, and they might find that father figure to lead this team. I think that's what Miami needs. I don't know.
Yeah.
That part I don't know. Who even knows who's going to be looking for a job? You know, there could be. Right. I don't know. It could be. I don't even want to put any names out. It could be a college coach coming up. You know, there could be.
Saban returns to Miami. That would be crazy.
That. Dude, I would hate that.
That would be so ridiculous.
I would hate that.
I'm just putting out storylines that aren't true right now. We don't need that. But I do want you to give a plug.
Bring back Brian Flores.
Yeah, Finn's Forecast, man. Yeah, every Wednesday, 7:00, YouTube at Finn's Forecast. It's ran by your guys' correspondent for the Dolphins, Keith. Yeah, he's a good host, and he keeps the show moving. We have a little banter, but we don't really get on each other too much. I mean, we're obviously all Dolphins fans on that chat. So if you're not a big Dolphins fan, it's probably not the channel for you. But at the same time, we have a lot of fun, and it's we talk more than just Dolphins. Yeah, obviously we give our props to the other team as well as trying to pick the other team apart a little bit, but we don't just sit there and bash the whole time or anything.
Yeah, I love that, and I'll definitely plug it in the description below. Also, brings me to the point, you got to join our Discord because we have a bunch of different chats in there. We have a Finns Talk chat. Unfortunately, we do. We have a Jets one, or we don't have a Jets one. Mike said no to Jets, Anth. Sorry.
I just learned about Discord. I'm just learning social. So I took over the social media aspect of this Finn's Forecast thing, and I am just learning. I don't go on Facebook. I don't really go on Instagram. So I'm just learning all this stuff. I never even heard of Discord until 5 weeks ago. So
it's cool, man. It's like just a community thing. Ours it's free, right? You join. We talk football nonstop. We have a bunch of different channels on there. We have a Finns Talk one, a Chiefs Talk one. We don't have a Pats one though. Tyler, we don't have a Jets one, Anth. But maybe someday, right? Maybe someday. But we do welcome all teams. We welcome all franchises. Anyone that's a fan, just tap in, man. We love talking ball. You're right, Roy. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty terrible game statistically for him. We did shoot ourselves in the foot quite a few times, but Skylar Thompson was indeed the starting quarterback of that team. Had Tua been the starting quarterback of that game, probably would have been a different result for sure. Roy wanted Leggett too. Yeah, it was tough, man. Only social media bothers with this YouTube. Love it.
I wish, but I got to learn it, brother.
Yeah, I know. That's the way of the world nowadays, right?
Yeah,
it is. All right. Last but not least, Monday night, the first of two Monday night games, 7:30 game here in Buffalo against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have really underperformed. I am kind of shocked with what I've been seeing, especially from Trevor Lawrence, man. Like, I don't know what what's going on there. It's been rough. It's been a really rough go for them. They have not looked good. They scored 13 points. I know the Browns have a very good defense, but my gosh, you have so many names. Like on paper, this team should be really good offensively. And the offensive line, they solidified too. They bring in our guy, Mitch Morse. They got a couple others there that are really good. And they just can't seem to figure it out. Brian Thomas looks fantastic, by the way, I will say, but where's everyone else? I mean, where's Christian Kirk? He had one catch for -1 yards last week. Like, what is going on there? Travis Etienne kind of underperforming a little bit, fumbles in the end zone against the Dolphins, which really was the pivotal turning point of that game in week 1. Tank Bigsby has looked good, but now he's injured. It's just, there's a lot going on there. And I think they have a very, very good young defense. And Josh Hines, Allen, has definitely gotten the better of our Josh Allen the last few times we played each other. But man, it has not looked good for Jacksonville. So I know they're going to be coming with the heat. They're going to be motivated. It's a Monday night game. This is essentially, this is a moment where it can alter the season for them. I know if they go 0-3, it's kind of tough. You're playing in a division with the Houston Texans. Sure, they're very good. They're probably going to win that division. The other two teams aren't that great, the Colts and the Titans. But like, you want to be a legitimate team, you got to win the games that matter. And I think they can make a statement by beating the Buffalo Bills on Monday night. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. From what I've seen with this Buffalo Bills team, we've been very, again, it's a totally different type of offense. We've been spreading the football around, and the key players that step up when they need to step up do so. Those players being James Cook, Josh Allen, of course, leading the charge. Guy is incredible. You look at, even Dalton Kincaid making some short catches, but important catches at times. Dawson Knox, he'll only go for maybe one catch, but it's a big catch. And then you have the human pinball, Khalil Shakir, who has looked absolutely fantastic. I love what I see from this kid. And Shakir, I got to say, I think he is,
for you guys.
God, I mean, he catches everything. Yeah.
That's maybe like the biggest miss that I have, because I'm pretty sure I was pretty on about Kincaid. Just not doing a thing.
You were on about his stats. I was saying 100 catches. I'm beating my chest about it. I mean, man.
1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns.
Yeah. It's not a tight end league anymore.
But yeah, across the league, it's been weird with tight ends. I will say.
It's not a tight end league anymore. Goddard's been quiet. Kelsey's been quiet. Isaiah likely had the best tight end game so far.
Before we say that, let's get more than 2 weeks in.
No, for sure. But quiet around the whole league. Even Laporte has been quiet, and he was a big staple of the Lions.
That's just because they've been going over his head to Jamison Williams, because it's more efficient to just go for the end zone with a big guy.
Unreal.
He's looked phenomenal. He's looked phenomenal. But that's what we've seen in the NFL so far. Like, these teams with really good deep receivers, they're not having trouble putting up yards. The ones that are playing intermediate, that hit their guys, in the 10 to 20s, they're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Over the top is still working.
Yeah,
we've got to cripple defenses again. Like back in the early 2000s, the Patriots really handled the Manning offense, and they changed the rules to make sure they couldn't do that again. So maybe we need to ban the defense from going between 10 to 15 yards from the line of scrimmage to really let the intermediate play shine.
Yeah,
absolute embarrassment here. Before we let him go any further, can we just call it a day?
I love it. I know we got to wrap this up, boys. We got to wrap this up. But Roy, he says, I know our running game has been okay, but I'm still concerned with the wide receiver room. Haven't seen enough out of them yet. So I'm going to say this. I think I have. I know it's not the household names you want to see on paper, but just going back to Khalil Shakir, every time he's needed to make a play or make a catch, he has. Even Keon Coleman, when he was called upon in that first game, makes a huge catch on the sidelines, 28 yards. And I know he didn't do squat in this Dolphins game, but he didn't have to. I think when these guys go ahead. Yep. I
said, I feel like Josh Allen could make any of us look like a decent receiver right now. I mean, he just finds time.
Right, true.
That's the biggest thing, is he doesn't need to have the greatest offense line, even though his offense line is stout. I mean, Miami didn't get to him at all. We barely touched him. But the fact that he can just extend every play and still be on the money, no matter where he is behind the line, he can be running. He'll find the space to plant and throw and still not get touched. Like, he just extends all plays. I mean, he doesn't need good receivers, and it's showing. The first game, he spread the ball around to, what was it, 11 or 12 different players, nine different players. That right there is showing he doesn't need a big name. He doesn't need a shiny Porsche. He's cool with 10 Civics.
against
he'll
the
get you
Arizona
there.
Cardinals.
But it doesn't matter. Hey,
no.
I'm
I
a
love
big
it.
hater against the Cardinals
because they
But he did
almost
it
had
against-
full race at the end of the game.
The Dolphins, though, too. He did do it against the Dolphins, who
How many turnovers?
no turnovers.
You guys got the free? No.
Oh, you mean our defense?
Footballs
Yeah.
by the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, no, that's
their
definitely
offense didn't even need to work. I mean, the Buffalo Bills didn't.
Of course
need
not,
their
and that's my
offense
point.
today.
They haven't been tested yet. We were hoping the Dolphins were going to show us what this Bills
agree.
team's were, and guess what?
Yeah.
2 interceptions to terrible wide receivers, and then Tua gets knocked off.
But
Right.
that's
And
not.
they really
the
might
Dolphins
not be.
defense.
They weren't
That's not the
tested.
Dolphins' defense to the Bills' offense. The Bills' offense literally did whatever they wanted to the Dolphins' defense. Tua's not on the
They got
defense. Tua's
infinite
not throwing.
possessions.
But it doesn't matter where the possession is.
does.
The possession could have
If
been
one team
back
gets
on the
it-
30,
we're
and the
talking
Bills
basketball.
were still
One
going to
team
walk.
gets 27 shots, and the other team gets 10. Who's winning? The team that goes 10 out of 10 on their 10 shots, or the team
Miami
that probably
had
gets
20
27
first
attempts?
downs. Bills had 13
I'm
first
gonna look
downs.
this up. Yeah, I was
Miami
gonna say,
had
the attempts were-
212 passing yards. The Bills had 130 passing yards. Miami
They
had
didn't
100.
need
You're making
to
it sound like
throw
the Bills got
football.
lucky.
They got the ball. Where did that first interception was off? They got the ball at like the 40. The next interception, they
field
also
position
got the ball at like the 30 or the
That's true.
40. They didn't have to do anything.
That's my point
The
exactly.
third interception
They
was
didn't-
a pick six, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, in the
So,
third
yeah,
quarter when the
They
game was
didn't have
already
to do
over.
anything.
But
But
when he did do it, he was
James
able
Cook-
to do it from wherever he was at. But Josh Allen had zero problem moving the ball.
That's definitely
They
true.
didn't have to. They were literally up 3 scores off of turnovers.
Well, not at the beginning. At the end of
Yeah,
the first
the
quarter, it
whole
was a
game.
7-7. It was a 7-7 game at the end of the first quarter. It was really the second quarter where things kind of got out of control.
We're 200.
And James
we're
Cook-
two- or we're-
Yeah, and defense stepped up. I mean, defense was phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. And I think field position obviously was huge too. I mean, James Cook in one play took it, but I will say that. I mean, there were some big plays.
49
James
yards.
Cook, 49 yards to the house. And a lot of it before that was just kind of digging at him, right? There was
Yeah.
the 33-yard pass to Ty Johnson, which was an insane play. I mean, just an absolute rope to get
Sure.
us,
Nobody
into
said that he's not a phenomenal quarterback. My point is the team hasn't been tested yet.
I agree with that. Yes, I agree. And I was hoping that Miami would be like
We all
this game.
were.
It didn't unfold the way that we thought it would unfold.
We were
But
all hoping that this was going to be a great. That's why it was on the Thursday night game, primetime game. We were
Right.
hoping that this was going to be 2 contenders fighting it out, and we're going to see who looks good at least in the beginning part of the season. And it didn't turn out that way at all. The Bills
But I
got a
do
million
agree.
more possessions. They got easy touchdowns. The game wrapped up,
They
and
didn't
the
get a
Dolphins
million
took
more
credit.
possessions. The Bills hardly had the ball. Dolphins had
time of possession was
possession.
No,
crazy.
But
If you
he's
look,
not
it was
talking.
low.
He's not talking about time of possession. He's talking about who got the start the most drives.
benefited from
The Bills
field
got
position
the Bills got a
stuff.
free touchdown off the third interception, which was a pick six, and they got 2 extra possessions early with really good field position off of interceptions.
And Josh Allen moved
And then they
the
got
ball with
explosive.
ease.
Josh Allen didn't have to. He got the explosive.
Didn't
play
have
off the
to, but he
James Cook
did.
run.
Yeah, he
He
did.
threw for 130 yards.
With ease and with no field,
Yeah.
like you just said. It with
No,
zero
he did.
field.
Tyler, don't laugh. Hey, you go watch the tape, baby.
No.
moved it with
The
ease.
quote.
He
The
did.
quote. He threw for 130 yards with ease. Yeah, I'd hope any modern quarterback can throw for 130 yards with ease.
In the red zone. He was in the
That's
red
the
zone all
Speak
less
for
day.
yourself,
than the bare
Mr.
minimum.
Jacoby
Who's
Brissett.
in the red zone
Well,
over and over again?
you guys
Jacoby
weren't
Brissett threw for more.
watching. I mean, there.
Jacoby Brissett threw for more than 130 yards.
Jacoby,
It's
he
difficult.
did.
With ease.
For
No.
147.
It's better than Josh Allen, I guess. He can throw
149,
for more
149.
yards, man.
He did it with what? 10 maybe. I don't know.
He had 19 attempts. Jacoby Brissett had 27. 149 yards. Pat. I can't believe we're comparing Josh Allen to
We're not
Jacoby
comparing.
Brissett right now.
You
We got to get
shouldn't
off,
have
boys.
to.
My wife is
We
going to
gotta get off the show.
Here's this conversation continue.
I know.
Tom.
But I do want to get to Carl's comment real quick here.
My wife just
Steven?
screamed. She already did. Thanks, guys.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry. Listen, put this on
Oh.
me. Put this on me. Just talking about Josh Allen. Steven, with the hot take, Bill Belichick to head coach the Miami Dolphins by the
No
end
way.
of
I
the
did not
season.
say that. You do not put those words in my mouth.
You said
Wow,
you
I
That was a
hate-
pretty bold
I don't
claim
like-
you just made.
I don't like to use the word hate, but I dislike Bill Belichick more than I like football. So We'll just put it there.
Damn.
If he's my head coach,
Really?
I'm probably I don't like
Bill's
dude,
the greatest coach ever in the history of football.
I won't watch a Patriots game. Like, I won't do it unless Miami's playing them. Like, there's nothing about the Patriots that's appealing to me. There's nothing about their stadium, their colors, their uniforms, their logo, Robert Kraft, Tom Brady, the 5 Super Bowls they got. They can say whatever it is. They can
6 Super Bowls.
You can jam that 6th one smooth up your, where. But I'm just saying.
We got this. We got that this season. You got the Miami Miracle. We got a Lombardi Trophy. Who came out better from that one?
Yeah. I can't.
Don Shula, more career wins than Bill Belichick.
Got the red, white.
I will root for the Jets before I root for the Patriots.
We don't want you. Go away.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. That would be wild. Jags have definitely been a huge disappointment. Yeah, I think they're going to come in fired up in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a slow start. I think the Bills need to come in, take care of business fast, shut this down. The good news is we're playing at home against the Jags. We always struggle against the Jags on the road for whatever reason, and it turns into usually one of the worst offensive performances of all time. I don't know why. I don't know what that is, but at home against the Jags, the Bills have actually been good. So I'm going to go off that fact. Listen, the last time they were here, there were some exchanges thrown between Shaq Lawson and Leonard Fournette. They threw punches at each other. Leonard Fournette went after like a crowd member or something, like in the lower bowl. It got crazy. Things got wild. The Jags, you never know what's going to happen with these teams. But I'm going to say this right now. I think our Josh Allen, is going to have a monster day. Josh Hines Allen, definitely going to be hard to neutralize. But the offensive line has been playing extremely well. Our corners, by the way, most underrated cornerback group in the NFL, Christian Benford and Rasul Douglas, put some respect on their names, did a tremendous job against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I think they're going to do a hell of a job against these Jags receivers. And I think the Bills pull this one off. Not pull this off. They're going to win handily. 31-14. Boom.
Only 31?
There you go.
I thought Josh Allen was moving the ball with ease. Not
going to need to. We're going to run the football a lot. Kill clock. No big deal. We could put up 50. We're not going to. We're going to save that for later. For the Pats. Is it going to be like I was going to say about the Pats? Is it going to be like that game? I think it was 2009 against the Titans, where they put up like 50 points and a half. That was crazy.
I'm calling it.
Okay.
I'll see you guys next time.
That was wild. Yeah, this is interesting too. Anth, take care, brother. He had to go. Listen, we get a little out of control at times here on the show. I appreciate you boys staying for this long. I'm going to go on this last comment here. The Bills held a workout for 2 free agent kickers on Tuesday, Anders Carlson and Cade York. I did see that. Yeah. This comes after Tyler Bass, obviously having a little bit of a shaky start. Had a good first week, but then this last week misses a 45-yarder, and it was not pretty. It wasn't even close. So, yeah, there's definitely some concern there. I don't know if it's the fact that he's just lost confidence in himself, or if it's all mental, or if there's even an injury, but definitely concerning. Steven's hatred for the Patriots is like my hatred for the Broncos. I love that, Weston. He won't watch anything Denver Broncos related. I was rooting for the Pats back in '85 against the Bears.
Picked our ass so much. It's hard to like them.
Nauseating.
The Pats did not beat you guys up that badly. Okay,
you guys would always steal one against them.
We've been competitive against the Patriots, but we could never totally. I mean, the division for God's sakes, like we got one. That was cool.
And that was when Brady was injured.
Yeah,
and only by tiebreaker.
It's just I don't want Belichick. I just don't have a. He's not a good taste in my mouth.
How many rings would Belichick have to bring you for it to be worth it? Like, would 1 ring be enough?
Yeah.
2?
But I still don't like him. I'd be happy with a ring, for sure. Anybody
you don't have to like them, but
ring,
you have to respect them.
Yes. Well, that's how I feel about Brady. I for being probably the same reasons that you have, it's hard to really root for Brady. Like if something bad, I don't ever wish anything bad on people, but if something unfortunate happens to him in football where he throws a few picks, or his team that he buys really sucks, like I'm like, cool, dude, that's good for you. But if he were to be a Dolphin, I think I could find it in my heart to root for him. I would just have to dig a little deeper.
He'd still be the best quarterback in the league right now, I think.
Right now?
No, right now, I think, man. Yeah.
I don't.
He could definitely still play. I mean, he played at a good level.
Because the thing is, all these teams are shutting down the
not
offense.
On Miami.
It's like defensive wizardry, and
I think he would get
Tom Brady just like sees through it.
That's true. that's why he was able to play for as long as he did. So that's definitely true.
But
you
have to play in a shotgun like an extra yard or two.
I was gonna say bigger, stronger, faster. It's tough.
Brady played in the Arians a little bit, man. Brady can do anything. He played in the Bruce Arians offense.
He did.
He's fine. He can do anything, man.
Yeah,
it's Brady.
He's had 2 years off. Imagine if he did.
Yeah, it'd be.
I don't think he will. But I mean,
he owns a team. He's part owner of a team, and he's already
that would be a conflict of interest, right?
And he's already on an analyst board. So there's too much contract issues going on with him anyway. It would take too much to get him. And by the time you do get him, now you got to get him acclimated. And then by then we're probably going to lose a pick because they'll find a way to say that we tampered. So I just don't even want him.
Yeah. Yep. All right, boys. Listen, I got to get going. I'm saying 31-14 Bills. Steven, you said 24-10 Seahawks against the Finns.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Tyler,
said 9. I think it was 9, but we're good. 10.
Tyler says 16-13 Pats over Jets. Anthony says 27-17 Jets over Pats. Stay tuned for that game. Thursday night, Prime Video. It's going to be fun. Monday night Bills game, 4:05 p.m. Eastern on CBS, I believe, for that Seahawks game. But thank you to everyone that was out there watching. Steven, it was an absolute pleasure. We would love to have you on at another point.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
You were great. Tyler,
thank you.
Fantastic as always. Anth, listen, if you're out there listening, don't get a divorce. Put this on me. I love you, brother. I think that's about it, boys. Thank you to everyone that watched. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. As always, I'm going to sign off by saying my traditional go Bills. Tyler, what do you guys say out there in
go Pats?
Pats country? Steven?
Hopefully we figure it out, man. Go Dolphins.
There you go. I love it. All right, guys. Hey, take care. Have a great night, and go Bills.